panel. Shira Toeplitz, a writer for Roll Call, Keith Boykin, Democratic strategist, CNBC contributor. You heard the congressman there saying that this has to be bipartisan. This is, though, what I guess the negotiators, whoever they are at this point for the Republicans, are facing. Let me play again. Congressman Tim Huelskamp on the fiscal cliff. He was on Morning Joe talking about the cliff and gun control, all of which were met with a single reaction of no. Let's play it.
Should anybody's taxes be raised at this point? Please answer, sir. Yes or no? No. Okay. Then how do you negotiate with somebody who comes from your point of view? We do have this deficit. So it's purely entitlements. No taxes anywhere.
Mr. Buffett's not going to play a dime in taxes.
I'm asking you, I'm not talking about Mr. Buffett.
No, that's what we're talking about here.
You're telling me we can solve this fiscal crisis without taking any revenue at all.
Taxes doesn't solve the crisis at all. That's the misleading statement.
Shira, how do the Democrats and the president negotiate with that part of the Republican Party that seems to have a great amount of influence over Speaker Boehner, and so much so they humiliated him last night?
They don't. They can't negotiate with that. They are so far apart. They're on different ends. Their plans don't even look alike. There aren't even shared bullet points at this point. What they have to do, and this is a kind of a long shot, especially given the holidays coming up, you'd have to bring members back from spending Christmas and Hanukkah with their families. But what they'd have to do is they'd have to get a plan that would bring some of what's left of the moderate members in the Republican caucus back over and vote with the Democrats. And that is such a long shot at this point. And also you'd need to count on every single Democratic vote in the House caucus as well. And that's going to be difficult, too. It just seems impossible when you look at the math. It really does.
Keith, the Washington Post asked the question, who do you trust to protect the middle class? President Obama, 58%, Republicans, 32%. One of the things that's lost in this Plan B that was proposed by Speaker Boehner, it would have cut food stamps, children's health insurance, Meals on Wheels, homeowner foreclosure prevention. That is not why Congressman Huelskamp and some others were opposed to Plan B. They were opposed to it solely based on whether it's a pledge or their ideological beliefs that nothing should be done to increase the single tax.
And unemployment benefits. I mean, they don't care about the poor and the middle class and the people who are struggling out of work. They care about protecting millionaires and billionaires who don't even need it. I mean, these people should all just resign. They obviously have no interest in governing. They have only an interest in stopping whatever.
Going to resign, so how do we get anything done?
They have no interest in doing anything other than stopping what President Obama is doing. I don't know how you get anything done. I think this is an inconceivable dilemma. I can't even think of the words to figure out what the solution is, because you have one side. These are people who are against veterans benefits, the Veterans Jobs Bill, people who are against the UN Disability Treaty, people who are against Chuck Hagel being Secretary of Defense and against Susan Rice being Secretary of State. They're against everything. Anything possible that the president wants to put forward, they will be opposed. How do you solve problems when you have one party that is just the party of no? I don't have a solution to that.
Said that some of these people want to become martyrs. That is frightening language when you think about what they are willing to do in the name of, as he put it, to be in line with some of these extreme groups. And that's a Republican saying that about some within his own party.
Obviously, the Tea Party and the right wing is taking control of the Republican Party, but I have to believe in my heart of hearts there must be a few, just a handful of good, decent Republicans who are willing to buck the Grover Norquist and the NRAs and the radical right-wing Tea Party group of the world and stand up and do what's right. If you're not willing to have some courage to do something that's right, what the heck are you in Congress for in the first
Shira,
place?
what's the motivation? We know the Tea Party did not have great success in statewide races, certainly not in the general election of the president. They solely wanted to remove President Obama from the White House, not successful there. But they do have success when you look at congressional races. So what is the motivation to get, if not a change, obviously with the fiscal cliff, because these people are there, they're not going to resign in the future?
Yeah, so their motivation is actually, I disagree with Representative LaTourette. They are not martyrs necessarily. They want to stay in Congress. They want to get reelected, and they are worried about Republican primaries in a lot of these very Republican districts crafted by Republicans in the recent round of redistricting. We'll look at Tim Huelskamp, for example. He represents one of the most conservative House districts in the country. This is western rural Kansas, okay? So he does not want to be primaried, obviously, and I think given his recent actions, it's highly unlikely he will be primaried primaried for the right, because you can't get much more conservative than he has been. But again, I think this is going to take, it's still very difficult math. I bet if Congress comes back in January, Democrats are 18 seats short of the majority, right? So they would need 18 Republicans to come over and vote, and that's if everyone in the House Democratic Caucus was on board. So you'd need about 25 Republicans, give them some wiggle room to come on board and vote for something. That's really hard math.
Yeah. Shira, thank you. Keith, thank you as well. And Mark Murray will be up, and we'll look at some of the options, the 3 remaining options that the First Read says are available in these negotiations. Thank you both. And hundreds more flights are canceled today after